Hi, my name is Brian Lackey, and I'm the co-developer of the Pendulum Putting Rod. Welcome to Game Builders on mygolfgameplan.com. Today we're going to talk about the Pendulum Putting Rod and how you can use it to help make more of those 3-footers, 5-footers, and 10-footers that are so crucial to the putting aspects of the game. The three aspects that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about posture, we're going to talk about path, and we're also going to talk about the release. So when we talk about posture, first and foremost, we want to make sure that we get set up to the ball consistently the same way every time. The posture was one of the most commonly overlooked aspects of the putting stroke. So when we set up to the ball, we're going to take the putting rod out, we're going to give it a little twist and slide it out or slide it in to try to figure out your correct height. But we're going to slide it out just a little bit long. We're going to go ahead and take our posture to where we feel comfortable, and then we're going to move the shaft down and to push it into place. Once we get it set, then we're going to give it a little twist at the end to tighten it up to make sure it doesn't slide in or out anymore. Then I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to give it a little temporary mark at the end of the telescopic piece. Once I get the rod set, I'm going to go ahead and slide the tip of the rod into the putter head and the foam piece up into my sternum. The one thing too that we'll talk about when we talk about setup or posture, especially in putting, is that sometimes we'll have the hands back or forward of the golf ball, but instead of talking about the golf ball, we're going to talk about it in relationship to the rod. With the rod being in the center of my chest and going straight into the putter head, we know that the putter head is at the center of my body. So if I get my hands parallel to the rod, then my hands should be slightly in front of the ball, ensuring that my hands are in the proper position and that the putter faces square. If my hands are pressed too far forward, then I'm just going to pull the hands back to make sure that the rod and the shaft are parallel to each other. Also, when you set this into place and you get comfortable, I'm sure there's been times on the course where you feel like you're too low or you're too tall and you just can't get comfortable over a putt all day. By making sure that your setup is the same, you're going to keep the same dynamics of the stroke so that you're not changing contact of the golf ball, you're not adjusting your path, or you're not adjusting off-center hits by improper posture. So we'll make sure that you get set up, and then you can roll a few putts with it just to make sure that it feels comfortable to you. But the other thing that we're going to talk about right here is the position of my arms on the putter when we talk about posture. So if I were to apply pressure from my sternum into the putter head, you can see how the putter stands freely. If I go ahead and hold the putter with my left hand, you'll notice that the shaft of the putter and my left arm are parallel to each other. If I put the right hand on there, you're going to see that the right arm goes ahead and makes a straight line plane with the putter shaft. Okay, the other thing that you're going to notice as you set up to the ball and you've got your posture is that if the putting rod were to dissect through my body, it would come out directly between my shoulder blades. So many times we're asked, what controls the stroke of the putter? It's not the arms and hands, so we're not moving the arms and hands this direction. If we do, what that's going to cause is a lot of movement within the shaft of the putter and the putter head. Geometry teaches us that a straight line can make contact with a circle in only one specific point. So the only way I can hit the ball directly offline is if I create a lot of shaft rotation. By overusing the arms or overusing the hands, we allow for that to take place. So I'm going to set up. I've got the rod in place. It's at the bottom of the sternum. When I hold on to the putter, you'll notice that if I have direct pressure into my sternum, you can see how the putter stands freely. If I take my left hand and place it down onto the grip, and then I take my right hand and place it down onto the grip, you're going to notice the shaft of the putter is in direct line with my forearms. That I don't see the grip peeking out underneath the arms, or I don't see the grip coming up here to where I'm trying to grip the shaft and the putting rod at the same time. So we're going to get set. Then when I go back, I'm going to try to keep the rod and the shaft parallel to each other so that as I take my backstroke, the putter head works slightly inside the target line. As I come forward, the shaft and the putting rod are going to work again parallel to one another. The handle of the putter is going to point back to my belly button. I've maintained the pressure into my sternum, and it's allowed for the stroke again on the front side of the stroke for the putter head to work a little bit to the inside on the forward stroke. So what that would look like if I did that incorrectly is if I were trying to work the putter straight back, I would come this direction, and then if I worked it straight through, it would come that. Okay, again, the correct stroke is going to go back. The rod and the shaft stay parallel to each other on the back stroke, allowing for the putter head to come slightly inside, and then I'm going to stroke it forward, and as I stroke it forward, the shaft and the putting rod stay parallel to each other, allowing that putter head to swing back to the inside. So what the path does for you is it's going to make sure that we make contact with the putter face in the center and that it stays consistent. But again, the posture and the path are the two most crucial parts to the third element of what we're talking about today, and that's the release. Most of the compliments that we've gotten from the putting rod is that the tour players and even better players in golf, even great putters in golf for that matter, have said when using the putting rod they could feel the putter release for the first time in a long time. So what does that mean? If my hands push out, I'm holding the putter face open and I have not released the putter head. If I roll the putter head closed this way, I've released the putter head, but I've not released my arms and my body. So proper release is maintaining the connection between the sternum, the arms, and the putter head, allowing the putter head to swing forward, and you'll notice that the toe of the putter turns slightly to the left. Not a lot to the left, but slightly to the left. Again, you have to kind of imagine that little small arc down at the golf ball, and you're going to go back and forward to make sure that you're making the right stroke. In talking about release, the topic of impact often comes up. When we talk about impact, the first thing that we have to realize is that impact is a byproduct of the forward motion of the putter. It's not a simulated position or a fixated position where we're trying to place the club head on the ball. The ball is getting in the way of the stroke. If I were to sit up here and I try to stop the putter head at the ball, you're going to see my hands are going to be what stops. The putter head's going to continue to go, and then I've got into flipping the putter head through, which is going to cause for off-center hits. So when we're talking about that release, it's important that when you go forward, that the rod and the shaft stay parallel to each other. That's going to make sure that you're releasing the putter properly. The toe of the putter is going to work slightly left, as mentioned before, and it'll give the ball a truer roll. If I were to overextend, if I were to get here and try to really push down the line, you're going to see the putting rod fall out of position. You do that once or twice and people are watching you, you're probably not going to do that again. So you just want to make sure that you feel that connection, that you feel that pressure stay constant into your sternum. So, to review, we've talked about posture, we've talked about path, and we've talked about release today. The posture, you want to get it set, and you may have to adjust it from your first temporary mark. So that's why we're just going to draw a small line to begin with. Once you get the rod set where you want it, go ahead and make you a permanent line all the way around the bottom telescopic part of the putting rod. You'll make sure that it sits in the same place every time. You don't want to go to the range and get it up top at the top of the sternum one day or get it down in the belly the next day. You want to make sure that it's sitting right at the bottom of the sternum or at the top of your breastplate, right here. So we're going to get set up in there. We've got our posture. My arms are parallel to the shaft plane. I'm going to take the putter back so it works slightly to the inside where the rod and the shaft stay parallel to each other. I'm going to stroke it forward so that the rod and the shaft stay parallel to each other with the toe releasing slightly to the left. Work on these three ingredients in your putting stroke and you'll become a great putter tomorrow. Again, I'm Brian Lackey and thank you for watching Game Builders on mygolfgameplan.com.